The movie begins in the vast expanse of the cosmos, where a colossal spaceship named Gulag is seen orbiting the Earth. This ship is not just a vessel, but a home to a unique community of individuals who are distinct from what we perceive as normal. These individuals bear physical deformities, a testament to their unique existence. Yet despite these differences, they have managed to carve out a semblance of civilization within the confines of the spaceship. A tragic event unfolds within this community. A woman, driven to desperation, takes her own life in a violent act of self-destruction. She strikes her head against the ship's hull, causing a severe wound on her forehead that leads to her untimely demise. In the wake of this tragedy, the community's leader, a man named Bedzek, steps forward. Bedzek is known for his grotesquely enlarged left hand, a physical attribute that sets him apart. He takes charge of the situation, questioning who will undertake the grim task of cleaning up and disposing of the body. He then assigns this duty to the Dullard sisters, a trio consisting of a transgender man, a girl, and a man. The three dutifully rise to the occasion, lifting the lifeless body and casting it out into the cosmos. Bedzek later engages in a conversation with Samswap, a man distinguished by a peculiar deformity, a miniature second head sprouting from his shoulder. Interestingly, Samswap's secondary head insists on being referred to as Sam, but Samswap corrects it, asserting that he alone is Samswap. Their discussion revolves around the recent deaths and the dwindling population of their community. The woman's death marks the 6th such incident in the current month, reducing their numbers to a mere 93. It is revealed that their spaceship, Gulag, is not welcome on Earth or any other terraformed planet. The reason being, no one wishes to accommodate these inhabitants due to their physical deformities and differences. Samswap seeks advice from Bedzek, acknowledging him as the de facto leader of their ship. He commends Bedzek for his leadership, emphasizing that Bedzek is the one who truly steps up and takes action when the situation demands it. As Bedzek basks in the pride of their accomplishments, a sense of humility washes over them when the success of their survival efforts is attributed to the assistance of Sam. Samswap, a seasoned individual among the passengers, steps forward to disclose a troubling revelation about a mysterious ailment known as transmutational blood poisoning, which evolved into the colloquially termed blood radiation or blood poop. The condition only garnered attention once the number of afflicted individuals surpassed 1 million, leading to its reclassification as Random Idiopathic Genomic Mutation, or RIGM. While Samswap exudes knowledge and a sense of camaraderie, the remaining passengers appear to be merely drifting through existence. Across the ship, another passenger with a visibly deformed appearance pleads for permission to return home, hinting at deeper layers of longing and vulnerability. In a subsequent exchange, the Dullard sisters engage Bedzek in a conversation reminiscing about the pleasures of earthly cuisine, particularly highlighting the joy of indulging in crunchy foods. The bond shared among the trio is evident, portraying a dynamic involving admiration and mutual respect. Bedzek, portrayed as a charismatic leader adored by fellow passengers, commands attention and respect wherever they go. Their popularity among the community is palpable in the way others interact with them, displaying a sense of admiration and loyalty. Amidst the unfolding events, Bedzek receives word of an unexpected arrival, an unscheduled ship from Earth, which hints at a potential shift in dynamics and new developments on the horizon. The technician who informed him is named Harmony Teat. She is also deformed and has a raccoon-like disfigured appearance. Bedzek, for now, is uninterested and dismisses her easily. Later, we see him confiding in his wife, Annie. As they were starting to get intimate, Annie declared she didn't like the lights turned on while she was unclothed. This is due to her type of deformity and her insecurity about revealing her true self to Bedzek. He tells her he likes it and tries to convince her she's still beautiful, but Annie insists she put it on. The two started talking, and Bedzek revealed to her his true feelings about their situation. He expresses his concerns, fears, and hopes, laying bare his soul to the woman he loves. He also reveals to her that the real reason the Rigum sufferers were put into space was not due to overpopulation, rather, it was due to disgust from the rest of humanity for their ugliness, and she can't stand to look at them. After some flitting, he convinces her that he wants to make love to her with the lights on, and she agrees, although she is uncomfortable due to her partially transparent skin, which displays many of her internal organs. Meanwhile, they are interrupted by Harmony's call alert informing him of the arrival of the ship from Earth, and Samswapa was also there with her, so he firmly suggests that Bedzik come and deal with it. Upon going to the system room, Bedzik is informed that the ship docks, and he orders Harmony to attempt to hail it. After a few malfunctions, the Gulag passengers were successful in hailing the other ship. Shortly after, a single passenger, identified as Curran, comes out to greet the inhabitants, claiming that he is from the Earth's world government to make them a really terrific offer. Later on, we see the group having a loud argument about what Curran has claimed. Bedzik is backed up by the rest of the passengers as he tells Curran that this crew has had enough with humans on Earth, as they have trashed them into nowhere. In the subsequent events, Bedzik, Samswap, and the ship's navigator, Harmony Teet, isolate themselves with Curran to privately discuss the matter at hand. Initially, they are under the impression that Curran's purpose is to evict them from their orbit around Earth, and they ridicule him for it. However, Curran surprises them by revealing that he too is a victim of Rigum, even going as far as to unzip his coat to expose his deformity. Curran discloses that the disease has proliferated exponentially across the globe, infecting an innumerable number of people. It was initially believed to have been eradicated by a worldwide cure, but it resurfaced years later, having mutated to survive and become more potent. This resurgence led to mass evacuations of cities, with people seeking refuge in isolated shelters. Eventually, another cure was discovered, a serum synthesized from enzymes found in the blood of the first wave of Rigum sufferers, which includes the inhabitants of the ship. Bedzik, however, refuses to assist Curran or allow himself to be exploited by him, leading to a heated argument. Meanwhile, a man who had previously expressed a desire to return home overhears Curran telling Bedzik that they will be offered shelter and accommodation back on Earth in exchange for their cooperation in finding the cure. This triggers a violent outburst from the man, who begins to shout about his desire to return home. He seizes a piece of equipment and attempts to attack, but when Harmony intervenes to stop him, he stabs her, pinning her to the wall and killing her. Following this tragic incident, Bedzik states that he will contemplate the offer, and their discussion concludes. They then return to the rest of the crew passengers, and Curran addresses all of the inhabitants. He asserts that the disease has spiraled out of control, and that Earth is offering to allow them to land and stay there in exchange for their help. Despite this, Bedzik remains skeptical, believing that Curran is lying and will forcibly extract their blood if necessary. However, Samswap and others are more inclined to believe Curran, driven by their desperation to return to Earth. Bedzik insists that Curran is lying, leading to a dispute with Samswapi. Annie also wants to trust Curran, but Bedzik remains doubtful. Bedzik soon finds himself alone in his convictions and, in a fit of rage, physically attacks Curran. Samswap intervenes to stop him, but accidentally ends up killing him in the process. This marks a tragic end to a tense and emotionally charged situation, as Annie goes down to kiss her dead husband. The narrative unfolds in the aftermath of a tragic incident. Samswap, who has assumed the mantle of leadership, gives Curran, a representative from Earth, the approval to bring his medical teams aboard their spaceship. The purpose of this is to collect blood samples from its inhabitants, who are all sufferers of a debilitating disease called Rigum. As the scene transitions to 3 weeks later, we witness medical professionals from Earth diligently working on the ship. They move methodically from one inhabitant to another, collecting blood samples with precision and care. During this process, a female doctor approaches Samswap to take his blood sample. She expresses her profound gratitude towards him, acknowledging that their mission would not have been possible without his cooperation. She commends him for his bravery and selflessness in aiding humanity in its fight against the disease. Her words resonate with Samswap, filling him with a sense of purpose and validation. The doctors eventually manage to collect sufficient blood samples from all the inhabitants of the ship to meet their quota. Samswap is seen brimming with enthusiasm. A spark of hope is ignited in his eyes. However, there is a noticeable tension between him and Annie, Bedzik's wife, hinting at underlying issues that remain unspoken. In the subsequent scene, we see Samswape engaged in a heartfelt conversation with one of the crew passengers. During their conversation, the topic of Bedzik's death comes up. Samswolf expresses his deep sorrow over Bedzik's death, his voice choked with emotion. He assures her that it was never his intention to harm Bedzik, he was merely trying to prevent a disaster. She consoles him, telling him that he did what was necessary under the circumstances. She also reminds him of the upcoming wedding, a glimmer of joy amidst their grim reality. Shortly after, we see the trio who are about to be married. They adorn themselves with some flowers from the ship and appear excited about their impending marriage and the prospect of returning to Earth. Samswolf is then seen officiating over the wedding, the first one to officially take place on the ship. The atmosphere is filled with joy and hope as he pronounces the trio husband and wife. The rest of the crew applauds in happiness and celebration, their cheers echoing through the ship. During the ceremony, Annie informs the crew that the rescue craft has arrived. Samswolf announces to them that it is now time to return home. However, much to their disappointment, instead of them boarding the other ship to be transported to Earth, Curran enters, accompanied by a flood of new Rigum sufferers. They swarm the place and look around their new home, their eyes filled with curiosity and fear. Samswolf and the former crew members freeze on the spot, realizing that all their hopes are now dashed. They are now stuck with strangers on the ship, their dreams of returning to Earth shattered. Samswolf is seen terrified, his face pales with shock. The other inhabitants are also bitterly disappointed at this betrayal, their faces reflecting their despair. In the aftermath of this shocking revelation, Samswolf takes his own life by ramming his head into the ship's hull. Annie is seen frozen, sitting on the sofa where her husband, Bedzik, used to sit. The remaining inhabitants are also there, witnessing the event, their faces etched with shock and grief. The narrative comes to a close as Annie shouts at them to remove the corpse and throw it out of the ship. Her words indicate that she is now in charge of the ship, a mantle of leadership thrust upon her in the wake of Samswolf's death.